PH versus Terror Queens. Yet again, it's Athena and Mirko here. Let's go then over onto our Land of Dawn for the game number 1.
Let's get through it here again. Navi Philippines with their composition. This is already, I would say, kind of non-Navi Philippines-like, right? They usually play for neutral objective. This is a very brawly composition. So expect a lot more team fighting. Expect an active Navi Philippines.
Definitely. And with the Jawhead as well, they pointed out, what about the crowd controls? What about, you have the Selena here for Amor. And so far, we seen the Selena earlier this day. It didn't really work out to the favor of Navi MWI. But for Navi PH, will they be successful with that? Let's see how will they face themselves. Especially you need to bank on those early arrows, early pickoffs. As pick of pickoff, he will be picked off by Lunalyn here. And for Terror Queens, it's somewhat of a revenge for the Burmese trio, right? From last year's MWI.
Yeah.
So this is their chance for redemption. And of course, to get revenge against the reigning queens.
And it's also, I think, just the respect from Navi Philippines over to Terror Queens, who are such a big threat. You can already see the early game. Well, cool. Has to go for the healing. Rui rotating over. Could have been a kill there, but Keishi walks away. Rui goes for the puncture. Doesn't have it. Good Thorn Rose to escape the ejector as the Lethal Wanderer takes the big Abyssal Arrow shot.
Okay, big shots here for Navi PH and even Terror Queens. Tossing the flicker here for Mirai. That's the kind of action that we won even onto the first minute. But looking at the emblem builds right now, we can definitely see onto the prowess of the Wilderness Blessing here for the second core talent for Selena. Enjoy it for Mirai rather and Amor. Just so they can bank more on the fast-paced rotation that they can do, right?
Yeah. Again, for Navi Philippines, if you just look at yesterday's games, they were so good at setting up and stopping.
They are.
Or punishing mistakes, rather. Mountain Chakra comes in. Good reaction. Not Ayanami with a flicker forward now. It's giving the Lantern Flare to peel for her, and they get Ku out, but the setup is gone. Navi Philippines again showing what made them such a force to be reckoned with yesterday. Great setup. Rui forced to use the Phantom Execution defensively. A camp stolen by Ayanami in the mid lane. The Abyssal Trap gets first blood for Amor.
And they're not stopping there. Now they're turning up the purple buff, not Ayanami, deep into the jungle of Terror Queens. Another arrow will hit.
An ejector, an arrow, everything, and they dive under the turret this time. Ku won't be able to evade from the arrows of Keishi. Rui goes in for the puncture, but this looks like already a desperate move. Only now has she gotten level 4.
Calculated advantage here for Navi PH. That level of tempo, and that's the perfect combination, right? Plus addition of Keishi there, just stealing off the purple buff. Let's take a closer look here on their instant replay, where that was just full-on massacre here. 4 members committing on to getting kills. Speaking of which, onto the live right now, Lunalyn and Rui trying to run away. Arrow thrown away.
Puncture dash in again from Amor. That's a double kill. 3 minutes in, they're gonna go for the camp steal again. Mirai walks up, has a missile. Whoa! Rui actually walks up to Koshi. She's gonna be dove on by the Jawhead, the ejector into the trap, and Keishi gets a solo practically on Rui, who is trying to run away.
They're hoarding as much as numbers as they can here for Navi PH. It's like a buy one, take one.
Yeah.
They see one, they take another one here, and there goes another one.
Unstoppable force this time. No more CC to get him, but they don't care. They go past the healing. They just deal that much damage as Ayanami continues to just aura farm down below.
We're not yet 4 minutes into the game. That's an 8-0 kill score, and this is what we were talking about. As you know, women love to shop.
Oh yeah.
We see sale or buy one, take one. Let's go for that, right? Yep. And they're grabbing each and every opportunity here to shop some numbers here, especially for Amor with a 5-0-1. And yet again here onto the purple buff, we could see some pressure building up. Arrow to hit the purple. Okay. Whew.
See, I know you like to shop, but that would have been literal steal, right? Like, oh man, that could have been real bad. Turtle taken, Raging Sandstorm defensively. KG with the Mountain Shocker gets the kill. It's a killing spree as the Abyssal Arrow goes wide, but Lang is forced to back away. Sakoshi is forced to play football all alone. Oh, the arrow. Okay, Sakoshi gets a sliding tackle to away from him, and look at Ayanami again. going in, doesn't get the orange buff, unstoppable force, and ejected with a smart missile, almost taking Rui down, but she's able to escape.
So hard to breathe right now. This is such a shock for us, especially for Terra Queens. They managed to get a 2-0 yesterday from their first match, but against Navi PH, it's like they're being played around. Looking at the goal difference right now, all of it understandably. 5 minutes in the game, onto the side of Navi PH. Let's highlight the gold laners as well here.
Look at that aura.
Yeah, and the swag as well here. The Bruno doesn't have anything to do but play with herself right now with the balls. And look at that, the football. Just, I want to play, you know. I just want to try and spread my wings right now, but it isn't happening. Not Ayanami is always there, putting pressure.
Unstoppable force. That's an ejector into the trap, and they bypass the healing again. Ayanami picks up a kill, continues to stand there, taking the damage and zoning everyone from Terror Queens away.
Oh no.
Zero?
Situation isn't in the favor of Terror Queens. Navi PH on the other hand, this is non-stop roll action, Mirko. They're just not Ayanami doesn't want to go home.
Nope.
She just wants to like chill here, just find right targets. Sakoshi having a hard time here. She can't even clear off her own minion wave. Continuous arrows and crowd controls here.
Yeah, you know what? Like when the players walked in, Athena, Renmar, me, and Eternal, we were watching, and I remember Renmar just saying, "Man, look at that aura! Look at the aura of Ayanami."
They know.
I thought that aura wouldn't be able to be beaten. You know, you can't beat that. Turns out in the game, she's able to beat her own aura in real life, taking a shot. 4 members on her. Doesn't matter. Another Lantern Flare only heals Ayanami. 4 members baited this world. He comes in, and it's a dive from Amor to get a monster kill as Eternal gets taken for free. Shinoa just diving in. Another arrow lands as Mirai goes in for the missiles. The ejector not going to be used up. An arrow from the side. Navi Philippines 15-0.
An official wipeout here for Navi. Locking in the 10.1k gold lead. 15-0. They're just playing around right now.
Oh my lord.
And for Navi PH, it's different when you have that aura outside of the game, but really reflecting that, it's emanating right now, even onto their plays. Here onto this instant replay, full on killer mode here for the whole Navi PH. Arrow after arrow here. What a huge efficiency rate here for Amor. That is how you play the Selena here on the MWI, and now Terra Queens left to defend for their base. Onto the top lane, we're seeing some friction that... Hey!
Oh, what happened to Rui? Up top, just assassinated by the Eastern Shin. Ku's losing half of her HP just from the trap now. Shinoa on it. That's a base turret without the Lord. Lord hasn't even spawned in the game now. Abyssal Arrow again. Ludolin able to dash away, but Shinoa continues to push on the pace as Ayanami just takes the lantern. Another Abyssal Arrow going wide, but able to zone them away from the base turret. And that's 2 in 8 minutes.
It's so hard to breathe right now if you're Terror Queens. Each and every lane that you would want, even if you're the Lanzot, it doesn't matter. Navi PH will still close down on you, and looking at the damage taken ranking, understandable for not Ayanami. Just banking onto this stacks as well. Look at her, just... if it's enough that she's just standing, what more if she's inside the clashes, right? And she's not really what you want to target.
Wow. Ayanami is solo zoning 5 members away, and she ain't doing anything. She's just standing there menacingly. Terror Queens have no way to deal with her. You put a lantern on her, she heals from it, man. You throw a football at her, she catches it, throws it back, deals more damage. Abyssal Arrow almost catching Sakoshi. And Ayanami just gonna dive in the turret. Conceal. That was a defensive conceal from Terror Queens. They're terrified. Another Abyssal Arrow landing, and Halang has to respect it.
Terrifying situation indeed here for Terror Queens. Not Ayanami yet again inside their base. Just dealing that much damage. Shinoa! Mega kill!
Gets a heavy crossbow down as well. Athena, we're gonna have to throw the white flag. Mirai goes in for the ejector flicker. It is over 19-0. Navi, we know your favorites, but what was that? That was The biggest stomp we've seen all tournament.
That was a clean game, Mirko. Just stomping around, not playing around. Actually, they just went straight ahead, finishing up this round and very relaxed facing. Even not Ayanami, the one way back there, first to sign actually. If you're not familiar with her, it's like just another rank day for them.
Everyone in the chat is calling it a massacre. It's calling it a stomp. It is a stomp, but doesn't seem like it to these ladies. They look at it and they're like, no, it's just another day at the office. This is literally just another day of MLBB dominance
and this
from
is
us.
How they look when they do their check ping, when they check their devices. And with that, we could definitely see the confidence and how much they prepared for the season's MWI. And now it's up to the panel to show it over and dissect this round.
Okay, so when I said it was a dream and a nightmare, I didn't thought it would be the kind of nightmare where a new record has been broken, where now this is the fastest game of MWI, and they did it in a perfect game, 20-0. If you're talking about dominance, it doesn't get more dominant than this one.
I think for Navi PH, they just realized that, hey, we were the fastest game from a previous year. Why not get it again for this year?
Oh.
And then they're like, ooh, yay. Wow, wow, wee, wow. Like the game ended so fast, Brigida couldn't finish her
Marble
sandwich.
thing.
It's a marble English cake or something, and I couldn't even drink water right after doing it. That was how fast they did this game. Who, by the way, that's why we call it perfect. Deathless, not Ayanami, who spent, I think, the entire 9 minutes beside the opponents, did not die at all.
She just wants to make sure that they're okay, you know?
I think it's a identity crisis if she is a not Ayanami. Maybe Ayanami or Ayanami.
I talk about this. How do you shot call against this? Like, go for not Ayanami. And I'm like, wait. Go for Ayanami or not Ayanami? Speaking of which, right now we got to look at the head-to-head of Moore going up against Luna Lin, because I dare say that's probably the best Selena we've seen all tournament long.
I think probably 80% possibility rate on hitting those arrows against the players of Terror Queens, and we could see the difference also in terms of down on the overall map control of Navi PH has, because it was like it's not the farm side anymore of Terror Queens.
Let me just say, in my career, I don't remember another time when we did a head-to-head where the average KDA is 12 and 0. 0.00. That's fresh. That's new.
They had no kills, so there was no way to bump up the KDA. Like, no one there died in Navi BH's lineup. And initially, when it was only the Uranus that was shown, we were thinking maybe they want to go for another tank hero.
No, I've been practicing how he says that, but let's talk on that, because there was a part of the match where even we discussed behind the scenes, how are they going to take down the Uranus?
Yeah.
Right? Because looking at their draft, they don't have that continuous and burst damage to actually deal with not Ayanami on this Uranus. And it's not for the lack of trying. They did try.
Yeah.
They just don't have it.
I also believe that for Terror Queens, since we agree that the part of their playstyle is having a specific hero to actually find the jungler, like to jungle path, to do the jungle pathing with the Khalid. It just so happened that if you're up against Navi PH, a more dominant one, it's not advisable to dedicate a specific hero for that, because it was easier for Mirai to rotate, even for Amor to do ganking and even the sandwich plays under the turret, because they have a clear vision. Okay, the players are here, go for the arrow, and then if ever not, Ayanami is gonna be there also as a supplementary vision.
So it's not recommended to go for the woman defense then?
Yeah, the woman.
Shout out to Athena. She says so much clippable things. I never thought I would hear. You guys know women like shopping, right? Shout outs to Tina. Very, very clippable things that she says.
But that was actually true. The way Navi PH
Wait,
went
which one
on.
is true?
The buy one take one thing.
Okay.
See, I'm saying another one.
Okay.
But the way they actually looked for team fights or pickoffs, it's not just a single pickoff. It's always another member of Terror Queens who gets dragged in.
Another.
Yeah, and who
Yeah.
gets taken out as well. So this felt so impossible to get back on or to bounce back from if you were Terror Queens, especially considering that no one from them could potentially ever reach Keishi nor Shinoa anymore.
Personally, for me, I thought the game was over by 3 minutes. Right? Because I feel like the snowball started so early on.
Yeah, and also because of the vision that the Navi PH has, it's like Terror Queens has no information about Navi PH, but Navi PH knows everything what's happening on Terror Queen's side. And this is very evident on the damage dealt specifically for Shinoa. I mean, it's just 9 minutes of the game, but for a Gold Rainer to deal massive damage against other players, it means that there is the snowball. And even for Amore's Hero and even the YSS. So vision from the Mountain Shocker, vision from the Uranus itself, and even from the Selena. So says a lot about how Navi PH controlled the pattern of Terror Queens.
Yeah, and as much as we wanted to acknowledge the idea of how possibly in a way like they could have managed even just the laning phases, like they had somehow decent tools to deal with it. It didn't matter when Navi PH was so well informed that they had little to nothing to worry about, just because again the women to women defense was going on, and so they had the option to be the more decisive one, to be the more proactive one in terms of rotation, and it was something Terror Queens could not keep up with.
You know what they say, information is power, and Navi PH has a lot of information throughout the match. Now, this is going to be a very difficult question because this is a 20-0 game, a new record for the fastest game won here in the MWI at the Esports World Cup. And the question is, what do you change? How do you adjust? How do you make sure that game number one doesn't rock with your head so much that you kind of lose it for game number two as well? And I kind of feel like let's start with the draft, because that Khalid, like we were all surprised. I'm pretty sure we can't hear the casters, but even they're like, wow, this is very, very early Khalid.
Very early, yeah. I think they want to replicate their play style or their drafting pattern on game number one against Virtus.pro, but
Yeah.
it's not advisable against a team like Navi PH. Again, they don't really want to dedicate a specific hero just for the jungle pathing, right? So one good adjustment would be focus on having flex heroes again, and then probably switch things up if they have a clear vision rather of whatever Navi PH wants to bring against them.
Yeah, it's kind of like the entire maximizing the current flex picks.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Just how high of a priority these certain picks are if you don't want to reveal so much just yet about what you're planning to do. Because I think to a certain extent, up until like the latter portions of the draft, we weren't that sure as well of what they were planning to use for their jungler. Like, I was on my toes. I wasn't sure if they were going for an assassin or a utility kind of jungler. But eventually, they did go for the Lancelot, although it felt like they were forced to because the Fredrin and the Kai bans. So, yeah, picking whichever could work best for... It's probably really the sequencing that they have to work on.
Because since you want to go for the trades, since you've opened up some of the heroes, it's not advisable to get a hero that's not really prioritized on other phase of the picking. So yep, it's really more in the sequencing. Not really much question in terms of how they ban, because the bans were on point. It just so happens that the prioritization, the sequencing of the heroes that they will go for.
I see where you're saying that the bans are not really the issue, but then I gotta go for the second question here. Yi Sun Shin, should you really let this hero go? Because so far throughout the day, he looks unstoppable.
So probably not the Arlot ban and the Yi
But
Sun.
Ayanami on the Arlet though.
But you have the Ayanami.
This is difficult when your opponent has so many signature heroes.
That's true.
Everything that you ban feels wrong.
Or probably since they also use Selena, they can go and pick Selena instead because just like what the LaFell said, information is power.
Yeah.
Right? So as long as they have clear vision as to where the Yusin is, if they will give out Yusin again or in any way possible have that jungle pathing instead of having a specific hero, then go for a hero that could do that in majority of the parts of the map.
Yeah, so it's getting information without sacrificing your manpower or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Because like they did not get to rely on the Khalid for majority of the game, and I feel like it would have been great if they were able to, because Khalid in the early stages, I think even way back, he's the guy who can force the jungler out of the buffs and already secure the early game for his team. But that didn't happen earlier. He just stood there and eventually got punished.
Based on my observation, I feel like the reason why the Khalid couldn't put a lot of pressure was actually because good choice coming in from Navi PH, both the mid laner as well as the roamer, and just make sure that their mid laner couldn't rotate. Right? Because I feel like Luna Lin picking up the Zushin just wants to clear the lane very, very fast and then eventually help out the Khalid. But because she had to stay in her own lane and the Lancelot couldn't follow up as well, that made it very awkward, right? Because I kind of feel like if the Lancelot is able to help out in mid, let the mid laner roam, maybe they can actually press to the jungle.
Yeah, good observation. So if Terror Queen wants to stick on that type of aggression against the jungler, what if they change it this way? What if they help first the mid lane clear the minion wave and then have the mid lane together with a +5 go for that invade? Maybe if on the purple buff or orange buff, whatever buff is still there after clearing the minion wave.
Because Jushin and Khalid could really do fast wave clear.
Right.
So if they did try to coordinate or work together, then it could have been slightly different for game number 1. But what matters now are the adjustments they're gonna do heading into game number 2. And first, right off the bat, is that they're gonna switch sides. So they'll be the ones getting first pick. And hopefully it is gonna be a flex because there's no more YSS.
Yeah, I think for this, they want to get the Tyrannus instead because YSS has been banned. Not unless Baksha isn't available, not unless they have another hero in mind, but I think that has been a trend now with the recent patch. More on the utilities, even Zitian is open, it's not even prioritized anymore, not unless it is meant for their lineup. So I think for Navi PH, they want to go for the trades instead, because if they pick out 1-1 is going to be open, and we don't really want 1-1 to be open in this game because it might force a 1-1 against them.
Oh my gosh.
But they open a 1-1.
Yeah. So it's open, and so is the Farsa Zetian trade. If ever they do want to or would they actually prioritize that?
I mean, I feel like we were talking about how the mid lane, if you have a Farsa does clear the lane very, very fast, and with the wings by wings, she's able to actually rotate faster. I'm not sure if they want to take it first pick. I would prefer Farsa over Hilda, I'm not gonna lie though. So even okay, you know what? Sure, I would prefer the Farsa, but that's me. That's my professional opinion.
No, me too.
But I think maybe this is Terror Queen's comfy hero because game number 1 is banned out by Navi PH. Maybe this is their moral booster for this.
Their lucky charm.
Their lucky charm to be picked first pick.
They don't want Navi to take it away.
I mean, they did prioritize the Hilda yesterday too, even on red side though. That was on red side. So it was slightly a bit different compared to first pick. So Navi though, if you're talking about comfort, it seems like Mirai is sticking with the Jawhead and they steal away the Jushin, which I believe was the hero they used to complement or pair up with the Hilda as well. So okay.
I would say Kimi or Farsa here.
Farsa. How about Farsa?
Zetian if they wanna, but Farsa is better option for them.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more damage, you know. They pick up the Iritel, probably predicting maybe they wanted a Granger or something like that. So good choice overall. And they pick up the Hayabusa.
Pretty fair.
Yeah, there's a lot of mid laners still open. So yeah, like you said, pretty fair.
Yeah, I think for Terra Queens, they want to focus on having the Hilda find a viable target and then have the Hayabusa go on for the early kills. So Navi PH, they could get actually the XP lane now because it has been just the Arlot and the Uranus band.
Lapu-Lapu Glue.
Lapu-Lapu Glue. Yeah, heroes like that. For them.
There's a Phoveus.
Oh yeah, Phoveus as well, yeah.
The art.
I don't know, at this point, like, you kind of just want a hero to match, and they're picking up the Brody going up against an Irithel, which is interesting for me just because I'm not entirely sure how the matchup really goes against each other, because, not gonna lie, haven't seen Brody for a while.
Yeah. I think it's the first time I'm ever gonna see, even in the, like, as far as the collegiate level and all that.
It's been what, since M5?
We did see a Leslie yesterday.
I am not the only
so
one
like,
bound
why
by
does it
these
feel like
chains.
we're seeing all the forgotten marksmen?
Yeah.
We want to break the record, Rikita, okay? Most unique heroes picked.
I think it was M5, if not M5, M6.
Yeah, because I think it was Bren with the Brody on M5.
With the Brody skin,
Yeah.
the AP brand skin.
Yeah.
So, yep, Phoveus has been banned here by Navi PH. I think there's a high chance that, focusing on EXP lanes. In terms of the banning, so if we look at the fighters still available, you have the Katot, you have the Lapo, Ruby even still available, CC. Yeah, so there is a lot of options yet for the players. And Badang is actually great for
I kind of feel like they
Navi
still
PH.
need someone that can frontline, because Jahid is good at catching, but not really all that tanky,
Yeah.
right? So I kind of feel like grabbing an EXP laner that can match up against the Hilda and be a proper frontline might be great for them. I feel like if there's no reason not to pick up the glue, maybe they'll eventually go that route. Or if you want to be just a little bit different, who knows, maybe something like a Charizla.
Yeah, maybe Badang Lapu, and
Banned the Lapu, though.
okay, it has been banned.
I was thinking they were
So
gonna
they're-
pick that though.
Yeah, so they really think this Hilda is going Rome, and I guess that's their composition then.
Hilda Rome. But if even Terror Queens are banning out XP lane heroes, then aren't they gonna run out of options too?
I mean, they're gonna be the first pick after this, right? So the options are really low for Terror Queens unless they're prepared to just swap on over for the Hilda to go to the EXP, because then when you're looking at the Rome position, a lot is open.
Yeah,
a
not
lot
unless
is open.
they are planning to get Hylos for the lineup, but I'm not really sure if it's a good option for them. So CC, another XP lane. There are still a lot of options, really. Badang could be one for Navi PH for added layer of crowd control. Even Teresa, yes, could be one.
How about the
The
Eevee?
immortal one chose me to vanquish the
Eevee,
shadows that
does it
plague
serve as a
this
great
world.
stopper for like this lineup so far? They go for the Suyo.
Just to create the suspense, like, come on, panel, what's the EXP gonna be? They're really saving it for the last pick to make sure that, probably for not Ayanami to eventually win the lane. I kind of feel like they really want to know where this Hilda is going and then make that decision.
Because they banned out the Esmeralda, so might have banned out the Lapu Lapu because they're thinking about the possibility of that. Okay, but they go for the glue, as mentioned instead. So it's just the mid lane. I can't believe Farsa's still open to this point.
Oh yeah.
So the Farsa or
No, it would be more surprising if Farsa and Kimi are not picked.
My legacy
That's
shall
true.
endure.
Okay, we have the Sityan.
Okay, you're right. Okay, still okay.
Yeah,
Still
it's
okay.
Sityan after all.
It's still in the conversation, even though we didn't say her name.
so it's just okay.
Teresa Badang. I think for Navi PH. Not unless they want to go Joy, that's their XP lane.
I mean, honestly, anyone that can use a War Axe is going to be good just to abuse the...
The glulets.
There's a different name for it, but I'm going to go with that, right? Abuse the glulets, and now they pick up the Khalid.
Hold on. Okay.
You know what? This is going to be a fun game, fun match. Thank you very much, Brigida. Thank you very much, Chantel. I'm really looking forward to see what you guys have to say after this match. But now I'm going to throw it over to both Mirko and Athena, because now I want to see what other clippable things that you guys can come out with. So, you know what? Good luck for this one.
Let's see. Because right now, records are being broken. But with the shopping, let's see if they would let Navi PH do that again. But this time, it's going to be the game 2 of our match number 2. It's already a 0-1 in favor of Navi PH.
5 seconds
need to
till
step
the
up
enemy
their game
reaches
here,
the
Mirko.
battlefield.
Oh, they got to step up their game by a lot. And it starts here in the land of Dawn. I don't know how you even come back from that, Athena, right? Like, usually we talk about recovery, but that was 19-0. Navi literally smashed their own record and smashed Vitality's record from yesterday.
And it was fairly clean with a 20-0, by the way. And the
20
kill
by the
score.
end.
Yeah. So that is a huge impact here for Terra Queens. But of course, basing on the adjustments onto the DAP, we could definitely see some maybe answer to the somewhat level of Navi PH is trying to accomplish with a jawhead yet again onto the hands of Mervai. But for this round, it's going to be the Jushin for Amor. Being punished this early, by the way, if Flicker exhausted.
That could have been Terra Queens finally getting on the board right there, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, game 1, 0 kills taken by Terra Queens. So just 1 kill will already be an improvement from game number 1.
Really huge. And for Terra Queens, this is actually a huge opportunity to finally lock in their spot onto the next stage. But locking in onto the emblem builds as well before we have any clashes. More so, we are expecting more movements onto the map here for Navi PH, especially onto the trio. The Khalid here for Ayanami, Mervai, and of course, Amor there. But before all of that, for Terra Queens, on the other hand, Mirko, we have the Warcry here for Rui.
Yeah. The Master Assassin again, like you said, for Shinoa in the lane. This is a weird lane, I'd say, like an odd one. Hold up, though. Lang or the XP Crab. Looks like Navi have already rotated a lot of their members to try to contest this. But it's just the Queller that gets charged up by Keishi, and it'll just be a take. But back to the matchup. Brody versus Irithel.
Yeah.
I think that's more of like a fifth. I think Irithel's alright in that lane.
But even the Brody, of course, maybe more in the mastery itself here for Navi PH. But you're right, definitely onto the Irithel picker for Terra Queens. But some action here. Go being cornered out.
All in. They just go for it. Halang goes over the flicker as well. Finally, that's going to be the first kill on the board for Terra Queens in the series. Amor able to get for the Lancer players. Give it the Blade Surge. Locking in Halang. But it is a glue. Super tanky. Another immobilization. Locking her down. Oh, good mount as well. But Amor will be able to bring her all the way to the turret. It's a bit more a delayed take here. Free turtle for Rui as Halang has gotten the job done already. They faded in, bought time. But Mirai looks like she wants to go for more. No, Terra Queens back away.
That was enough. But still, for Terra Queens, such a huge improvement. Of course, finally settling down on the second, taking an objective plus a kill here against Navi PH. And a quick reset for them. We were asking on how do you bounce back from the sudden loss for game number 1, and this is how they do it, right? And there were certain adjustments onto the playstyle of Ku as well, being so proactive onto trying to spot on members here from Navi PH and even Mervai. Like, even if she hides for a long time, there's always Ku just spotting her out, scouting out members of Navi PH. Now, let's talk about the lead here. So far, Navi PH still hasn't established a huge gold gap, even a turret gap here. But onto the top lane, I think the next target will be the Crab Coin here. Whoa, yep, definitely.
Good secure on the Gold Crab there. Yeah, in a slow game like this, ladies and gentlemen, the Gold Crab is probably the biggest objective you can get.
It is.
You gotta rotate over to the Gold Crab. Get your goal lane or the Gold Crab because that can really change the impact of the game or more. If we go for the Crimson Beacon, flickers out of the sun as well. Now the Lancer player knocking Ku up there. Gonna be an all-in as Ayanami walks up and Keishi gets the Queller down to secure a kill.
And there she goes, right? For not Ayanami, relaxed stance.
Ooh.
Keep an eye out for Shinoa onto the top lane.
So Part Memory almost taking her down, but now Mirai walks up. Sakoshi got baited in, and now the slashes and the missiles from Mirai gets her down. That was close.
Wow, yeah. And a very clear intent here for Navi PH. Shinoa's like, girl, can you Vincere, I got you. Finishing off that kill here in favor of Navi PH. A very good pickup, by the way, onto Satoshi. Now, we're back onto a new turtle. Big objective here. Has just respawned. We could see Ku just hiding out here onto the bush. But with Amor's Lantern Flare, it's just more than enough to really give that vision, preventing anyone inside of Terror Queens just pouncing on them, pouring for the ganks here. Lantern Flare activated there. Oh, okay. They're taking things slow right now. Even not Ayanami. Just going on, running around the map here. Just targeting Sikoshi, but no, on the other hand, Kachigeshi.
Great pick there with the power of wildness to Mirai. Able to go for the flicker, but gets brought back to the team, and that will be another kill. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane is going to be a turret as Ayanami goes for the kill and finds it now. 2 for 1. But remember, Navi did get a turret down below. Rui on the turtle, should be able to take it now, and all in under the turret again. The poke coming down from Luna Lin to secure the kill under the turret. Rui with the quad shadow in, has the shadow kill, but will respect Ayanami as Shinoa stays busy in the mid lane, looking for a trade onto the turret. Rui rotating already, and Shinoa will respect it.
And now Turkins finally getting some of the advantage here, taking that Namor, and even Keishi. That was a very good catch here. Plus, they finally got an objective yet again. There's going to be a Cheetah. Luna Lane targeted.
Gee, the Queller! That's the added damage of the Jawhead passive, man. When you go for smart missiles, Keishi targeting on the Blade Surge. Luckily, Hlang got away before the Blade Surge could land.
Yeah, Navi PH just making the most out of it. Even onto the passive with Jawhead. Smart missiles at all. But let's take a lane here onto the top, wherein Ku made a double kill, but at the same time, not Ayanami just trying to neutralize the situation, even though they got 2 members against Navi PH, but with not Ayanami still alive, they can do more. Pick up more and more damage coming in from Terror Queens.
One shot of the shadow kill over to Mirai, and that will not be enough to take her down. She gets away as a more potent Lantern Flare. Luna Lin continues to provide that poke, and Navi, they gotta respect the damage because Terror Queens are definitely the ones pushing the pace here in game number 2.
Yeah, for Navi, they exhausted a lot of their ultimates and resources just so they could get out of that. For Terror Queens, we could definitely feel the improvement, and as well as what they could really do with this kind of draft. They're more comfortable, and even Luna Lin doing a great job. And for Navi PH, as you mentioned, never underestimate, never let them under your radar. The Terror Queens, on the other hand, they could have that poison. They could just pick their poison right now against Keishi. And now, final turtle has finally respawned here. That Ayanami just resetting it onto the mid lane. There's more pressure here. Ku just hiding out, being spotted by Amor. But let's go back into business here with the turtle. That Ayanami not yet ready for the Sandstorm, but still, we're heading on a quick pause, taking a breather here for our second match, or second game of the day.
That was still really a good move, though, from not Ayanami. The fact that she was able to pop in that passive from Zetian means that, again, that is a good angle to go for an attack later on. Zetian is very immobile, right? That's why she's kind of always forced on the flicker. So having that passive already proc means that Navi can finally do what they've been wanting to do the entire game, which is dive in deep, break that front to back, and secure the dive.
Yeah, and to finally somehow negate what Azitian can do, right? And so far, not Ayanami still doing a fantastic job onto somehow reaching her. Just what we call it, more on the hit and run onto the passive being broke out. And also, I would like to go back onto the Hayabusa pick here for Terror Queens. Like, she's more comfortable. She has somewhat of an advantage onto the mobility, of course. But at times, though, we could feel definitely feel the slight gap onto the damage as Shadow Kill just isn't enough yet. And we understand it's just 7 minutes into the game. And for Terror Queens, they still have enough or ample time to finally catch up and be on the lead in terms of the network here. Now, going back into the game, Land of Dawn. A quick update here, almost 8 minutes into the game, 4-6 onto the kill score. Not really much of a lead here for Navi PH, around 356. But there's a lot of action going on. Will they continue for a kill or takedown? Wait a second. Not Ayanami still with a quick sun guard. They're storing her HP. Mariah and Shinoa waiting around, eyeing their prey right now.
They're just waiting for a moment. Remember, they have conceal, so if Rui just steps up a bit too aggressive, he's going to be punished. Anyone, really. But from Navi Philippines, it is getting quite frustrating just knowing how tanky Terra Queens are and how much... Oh, there you go. Move already from Mariah earlier, but wasn't able to find an angle to go for Rui. But yeah, the sheer amount of sustain the Terra Queens have and the sheer amount of poke as well. Look at that! An all-in over to Ayanami, gets picked up by Luna Lin. A quad shadow forward, forcing the Crimson Beacon. Now Mariah walks up. That's going to be the quad shadow back and forth as KG was baited into the Blade Surge. Koo going to be knocked in very low. Revitalized coming down to Saber. Torn of our memory will lock her down. Amor picks up the kill. The shadow kill goes in, and Shinoa survives with just a sliver of HP as Terra Queens continue to push the pace.
I was just talking about on how Rui just needs to step up. The damage wasn't there yet. But after we got back into the game, there's a caster blessing right now, just pointing her out. And for Navi PH, that was a disaster, really. It started with not Ayanami being picked off, so no liners here for Navi PH. Namor and even Keishi was left so vulnerable there. But Terra Queens did a fantastic job onto balancing out and finally layering their skills properly, right? That's a layer that you want.
Whoa. A very aggressive item. Still the Sky Piercer built up from Amor. By Amor. Hepta season a Melfic gun. We're really seeing the limitations of Shinoa on a Brody though, right? Compared to the other picks that we've seen, again, from Shinoa, where she's able to make plays. Here, it's almost like she has to wait. She has to go in guerrilla style, wait for a lot of the resources to be depleted, then walk in and clean up. But even then, it brings the strength over from Terra Queens again. They're just so tanky. Rui on the ejector is stun. Lands from the top side. That global ultimate so valuable. The quad shadow gets Rui to safety. Goes back in time. And Keishi gets baited in, but still gets the kill in the end. Rui a bit too aggressive. And Navi Philippines stay afloat. They've done enough to isolate the Lord. They've cleared it up. Cool. Gotta respect.
Mirai just checking out. That was definitely a close call.
Mid lane, mid lane.
Yeah.
Ayanami go for the kill. Solo kill in the mid lane. Ayanami finds a pick. Two of the carries from Terra Queens are down. Mirai goes in for the Unstoppable Force and the ejector. Right into the Blade Surge and the damage from the rest of the team. 3 members fall in.
They're finding a way right now to totally balance out the map. If earlier they're having a hard time, because Terra Queens are just more on the sustainable type of lineup. Right now, Shinoa being targeted by Rina. On the mid lane, continuous clash here. Shadow kill.
Used up. Boom, immobilization as well. Ayanami walks up again, finds the killing spree. A Lantern Flare to save her. Ayanami walks away. Ejector and the Smart Missiles. Now with a Lantern Flare, looking for the Sky Piercer. Brock goes in and flickers out. Rui looking for the Shuriken. One last hit will do it. But Amor finds a Lantern Flare, and now staying away from the Shurikens. She gets out as Mirai is forced to sacrifice herself.
The ultimate escape here for Amor. But that took longer than expected with the clash. The moment that it extended, Sikoshi was able to finally go and give that much damage to the crossbow, but still somewhat questionable for me for Navi PH. But let's take a look back here onto what happened. Shinoa was left on the back lane, understandable, but that was a very good vantage point there for Navi. Plus that multiple chain crowd controls and multiple damages being delivered real time here. Sikoshi getting a kill here against Navi PH.
Ayanami just not ready for that damage, not ready for the immobilization. It's too much, even for Khalid, who's, again, relatively fast. The BOD gets built up, Shinoa picks up a DHS. But the big problem for Navi isn't that they're not doing damage, it's the fact that they're also very immobile. At least their carries here. Shinoa is so vulnerable against all the CC engage from Terra Queens.
And that's why we were kind of like, there's a question mark with the Brody pick here for the gold lane even earlier on. And we understand that the tempo was just disrupted all over. No more gold lead here for Navi PH. 4.6k gold lead for Terra Queens. And not only that, they also have the second Lord for this round. Taking a quick look onto the in-game equipment, that is a huge gap onto our gold here for Sikoshi. finally getting that Malefic gun and even the Berserker's Fury. Now we could expect more fast-paced damages. And of course, the pressure is on here for Navi PH. Not Ayanami is ready, going in for the jump.
Oh, they've dealt with it already. They're going to be going for dive already. Halang's going to be taken out. Shinoa free, hitting in the back now. Looking for the Tornapot memory. We'll be able to pop it in time. Watch Shadow and the Shadow kill to the back. More still able to survive. Shinoa goes in for the stun, but only finds the minions. Keishi looking for the Queller, able to get it, but Lunalin respects him with the flicker as Sakoshi deals with the turret down below. Keishi is sent up top to save the base turret. 2 base turrets taken down.
That was a bloody defense here for Navi PH. Definitely for Terra Queens, they just need to somehow polish more on who to target when it comes to the team fights there. But that was a close call here for Navi PH. Looking at the damage ranking right now, understandably, Lunalin will be onto the top of the list. Second is Sakoshi. That, by the way, earlier, that was somewhat of a great call as well. Even if they didn't actually finish the round, just put a lot more pressure onto destroying other turrets as well, just so Navi PH will be left vulnerable onto their base. Right now, 13-12, much more closer game compared to game number 1, which was a total massacre. And Terra Queens just have the advantage to totally roam around. They're limiting on where Mirai and even not Ayanami can only go to, right? All of it is restricted area. Shadow kill going in here for Rui. Being shared here for the members of Navi.
Nice try there from Keishi. Charge into Blade Surge, look for the timing, just at the right spot for Rui to get out of the Shadow kill before she could quad Shadow. But unfortunately, timing was a bit off. Saw the vision though. Navi, even with that big resource burn now, the quad Shadow and the Shadow kill, they just can't push in. Like, Terra Queens have such good peel, great frontliners, and now they're gonna go for the all-in 4-man stun again with the ultimate. Keishi goes to the Blade Surge. Sakoshi was waiting for that moment, gets the heavy crossbow in. Right low, Shinoa able to flicker out. Sakoshi taken down by the Raging Sandstorm. Ayanami buys the bit of crowd, is able to survive, but Amore in the back line will be assassinated by Rui as Ayanami gets dealt with by the glue. 4 members down. The Queens of MLBB, who've dominated game 1, are now on the brink of getting sent below. Shinoa can deal damage, but she cannot deal with the glue in game 2.
And that's going to be a win here for Terra Queens. Taking game number 2, forcing out another game 3.
Wow.
It's the second match of the day. What a fantastic job here for the Queens. Taking a 1 versus the defending Queens here at MWI. What a play. What a very dominating stand-up there. And a beautiful execution of the Fury of Phoenix here for Lunalin.
We all thought it was going to be a stomp again in game number 2. We all thought recovery was going to be tough. But the Terra Queens prove how tenacious they can be. It's a best of 3 for a reason, and we're getting it. We're getting 2 matches going all the way, back to back.
Yeah, and all the way from the Philippines, we have the mother and daughter yet again. Let's head on over and hear what they have to say.
Where do I begin? How do we analyze this, ladies? Because I don't know whether we want to start with the things that goes on in-game or out-game, because even you guys were saying like, oh yeah, probably they're going to win this one. But before we start on that, let's start with draft, because certain things were questionable, right? We didn't like Khalid from Terra Queens, and then this time the Khalid goes over to Navi PH. Didn't really like it. That's number 1. The Brody was questionable because even Mirko said like, yeah, probably the Irtal doesn't really lose. Maybe not win, but doesn't really lose against a Brody. So a little bit, I would say, iffy on the draft that Navi PH brought for this one. Were they trying to hide threats or something going up against it? Like, what was going on?
Or probably they want to try things out. For sure, they want to try if Brody will work with the Chushin and other heroes. But definitely for Terra Queens, I believe that there's a reason, or this game shows why they prioritize Hilda. They play differently if they have Hilda on their hero composition. Same goes with a stable. EX lane with a glue. So since it's like they are opening up the map of Navi PH all throughout the game, that everyone was or every hero or every player of Navi PH is shown in their areas.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm on that same line of thought wherein there were probably certain combinations that Navi PH wanted to try out, because if you look at it, like the Jushin, Jawhead, and the Brody, it doesn't feel like they're too different in terms of what they want to do and what they want to execute. But I think it could somehow also be attributed to the adjustments that Terror Queens decided to make. The way they switched things up and decided to go for the Hayabusa immediately as a response to the first two picks, it made things harder for the Jushin to rotate.
I was looking at the items and looking at the items of Shinoa, Keishi, as well as Amor. Now I'm actually thinking that they don't have a way to deal with the Hilda, just how we were talking about the Uranus doesn't have a way to die in the previous game, because in this one, Shinoa went for the Malefic Gun into a Blade of Heptases, more range, penetration, and all of that. But going up against a Hilda, she can regen when she gets into the bushes. So you need attack speed, and then she built the Demon Hunter Sword. And we all saw the damage wasn't really there. So I kind of feel like after the draft is said and done, they're like, wait, we don't have a way to deal with the Hilda. At that point, this is, of course, in hindsight, maybe the carry would have been better.
Yeah.
Right?
Although they did pick the Brody in the first phase too. So even the timing...
Yeah, third pick.
Even the timing felt a little surprising for Navi PH. I don't know.
The thing is, you saw the Hilda first pick. You had time to think about it,
Right. And I don't know if they just wanted to hide their jungler and XP laner, because maybe picking your XP laner at that point might have been better too, because you already know the matchup.
At least they have better options on their gold laner. So yeah, good point on that. Again, it all boils down to that sequencing in terms of picking their heroes, and it's really evident also in terms of the gold difference. We don't normally see Shinoa behind in terms of a farm into the other gold laner. So it's 11,000 versus 9,000. So it means she really had a hard time, given the fact that she was able to clear the minion wave and even had the opportunity to somehow deal damage in the mid lane turret when there was a team fight top lane.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the priority is a little bit all over the place, because we mentioned glue quite a couple of times, and you were saying that maybe they were hiding their jungle pick as well as the EXP pick. But is a Khalid worth hiding? Is a Suyo worth hiding, right? Because I kind of feel like it doesn't solve the problem that Terror Queens was really showing up, right? The problem was the Hilda. I don't think Suyo, I don't think Khalid really solves that problem.
And even more than the Hilda, the Irithel. Like, how exactly does these two last picks by Navi PH respond to the potential movement speed that Irithel could do later on in the team fight? Because there was no one to hold her down, and not even the Jushin could do that. Like, Jushin Amor was just too busy. I didn't see the Jawhead and the Jushin combo work that well in that particular game.
Now we're going to look at the head-to-head for the Roamers here, because we saw that the Hilda was first pick. We were questioning it, but hey, it worked out.
Yeah, I think for Rai here, since there's really no combo with the mid lane, it was a lot difficult for her to actually set up the pace for Navi PH. And if we look at the average kill participation, it makes perfect sense that you have 30% for Ku, because again, it's more on the zoning, more on the vision, actually give information for the team. But for the side of Navi PH, the ejector has to be on point, even all the other skills has to be on point just to be able to put up a fight against Terror Queens.
This is where, as an analyst, I like to say numbers without context is misleading. Because if you look at the numbers, it doesn't look all that good for Ku, but we definitely see the disruption in game, making it so that Navi PH was very uncomfortable in the match, and things like that really can't be showcased by numbers.
Yep, this is Ku being some sort of the distraction or the sacrifice that Terror Queens during the early stages were just clearly willing to take, because it was a lot more rewarding for them in other parts, in other aspects of the map. And again, even though this happened, I feel like it took a while for Navi PH to even take out this Hilda, because the entire idea of looking for a hero, setting it up, like going for the ejector play, who does provide the follow-up in this case?
Yeah, that's true. And you add also the revitalize on Ku's hero. So yeah, lacking in terms of burst damage, even damage per second for Navi PH. So you don't really have the kit or skill set. Even so, you didn't have that great time because of the glue also. So there was an imbalance in terms of the drafting.
Lack of synergy.
Lack of synergy, yes, for the hero composition of Navi PH. And it's just Terror Queens. They know the strength and even the winning condition of their hero composition that made them win that game. Even Luna Lin wasn't a viable target because it's just really hard for Navi PH to initiate.
And this is like very surprising because they picked up the Jawhead early, and then they pick up the Jushin when we were talking about the Farsa. Maybe Jawhead and Farsa would be a good combo. Who knows? Maybe.
Or even the Kimmy, traction pulse into the ejector and all that. But none of them were picked up. They got totally snubbed.
So question right here. Do you guys feel like Navi PH will simply just correct their draft, go back to basics? Or not think about the draft so much, but instead thinking of the bans and actually batting out that Hilda, making sure that Ku doesn't get it?
A little bit of both, I
Right?
guess.
Yeah,
Like, which
somewhere
one is
mid-
the priority? Either batting it out or just, get a normal draft?
But if even if they do let the Hilda go though, and if they're confident enough, like in other aspects like the macro and all that, then they'll have much clearer answers, because it doesn't feel like their picks, their sequence answered anything.
Yeah.
It's like they wanted to try and make something work that wasn't entirely the best case scenario for that particular draft.
I think for Navi PH, they should ban out the Hilda, because it was the scenario game number 1. It was effective for them, and it wouldn't hurt to actually respect a specific hero that gives or brings out the full potential of Terror Queens.
Yeah, so we're going to jump into the game very, very soon. In fact, looking at the players' forms, looks like they're already inside the draft. So we'll see very, very soon what heroes that they're going to be banning out. And I want to see if it's true that the Hilda does get banned out. Does Ku want to go back onto the Khalid, or they want to try out for a different kind of hero? Now, Terror Queens will be the first pick, Navi PH will be the second pick, and they do ban out the Hilda. Again, Terror Queens banning out the Arlet, the Kalia, as well as the Boxia, Yisenshin, as well as Joy are banned out, and now the Uranus is open, and it's going to be first pick for Terror Queens.
Okay, so far it is somewhat similar to the standard and common drafting patterns that we're seeing. The next 2 picks will determine whether or not it will still hold true, because the Uranus first pick indeed is very common. So that leaves, I believe, no, not even the Yisunshin is open right now. The Farsas,
Not unless they get the Kimmy this
the
time
Farsas,
around.
the Kimmys, the mid laners. This time around, could they show up?
Yeah, I think Kimi is a good option for Navi PH, just for the sake of winning the early game as much as possible, because there's a high tendency for Terror Queens to actually take control mid-game, but it's going to be Hayabusa and Gatot. Okay, so interestingly enough, for Navi PH, they have been prioritizing Gatot that much as compared to day number 1. So very, very different for their pattern.
Yep.
We've been vocal-ish about the Gatot second pick. We're going to see how it works out. Personally, for me, for Navi PH, I just want to see an answer for this Uranus because eventually 5 people will be able to take him down. But we've seen situations where you invest too much on taking down one person that everyone else becomes free. And we were talking about it, it looks like, yes, they want to go for the Khalid again. I guess in terms of flex, technically Uranus can still go inside the jungle if they want.
Yeah.
You know? So maybe that's a flex, who knows?
Okay, maybe let's skip on the Farsa. Maybe none of these teams want to pick it up right now. I mean, there's a Khalid and a Haya already.
I mean, if you see Uranus and Khalid, I won't be surprised if Navi PH pulls off a Luyi. Maybe this is the time we see a Luyi.
Zetian is still good.
Zetian still, the meta shaper. But other heroes like Vexana, but I don't think Vexana's a good idea.
Yeah, because earlier in this part, they already picked up the Brody. But
Esmeralda.
Oh, the Uranus Esmeralda.
Yeah, the season 8 MPL.
Yeah, this is
meta.
where the lane we will fight for infinity +1 times.
Yes.
Like they'll just stay in that lane and then everyone will do their own thing. But now something that I do want to point out is that the gold laner hasn't been picked up just yet. I wonder if Navi PH they'll just extend it, wait for the last pick just to make sure that Shinoa actually has a very good damage profile, because I kind of feel like that's what they were lacking. The damage profile wasn't really there for Navi PH. They banned out the CC. I kind of feel like at this point, if you really want the Khalid to do work, you got to ban out those mid lanes, man. You cannot allow Navi PH to actually have a winning mid lane duo.
So that will leave the carries and the Brunos still available for Shinoa if ever she does want to take that. Because I think there was a time they were banned out too earlier.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there you go. But then, so maybe they want to split it up. Like one ban to allow the Khalid and then another just to limit Shinoa's options. But the carry sounds really good in this case.
Yeah, anti-tanka, the typical counter against tanky heroes. So I think for Navi PH, since they are focusing on somehow banning other heroes that are more on the sustain side, I'm just not sure. Okay. So they're banning out EXP laners for the sake of not having a jungle Uranus, probably because right, Khalid could be a pos 5. It was switched into a pos 5. So you have 3 fighters just in case. Yeah, carry ban for Terror Queens and another EXP lane for Navi PH, probably.
Yeah. There's, I think the Phobius is going to be completely out if ever that's the case, since there's an Esmeralda already on the other side. But is this going to be the carry still? Or are they going to ban something else?
I kind of feel like if they let go of the carry, I think it's just going to be ganked quite a lot of times. Because I do understand that the carry is going to be good going up against the Uranus. But if Ku is very experienced with this Khalid, you can potentially counter or at least punish this carry. So I kind of feel like it is an option. It's a good ban, but at the same time, if you let it go, it's not the end of the world. Instead, they ban out the Selena. I feel like they do want to ban out mid laners, but they really have to ban out the Bruno because with his ult, there's displacement. And I kind of feel like that does disrupt both Uranus as well as Khalid, especially that healing. At least with the carry, you don't displace him, so he can still heal with the Quicksand Guard. And they pick up the Jushin. I'm just worried just a little bit about that damage. There's a lot of control, but not a lot of damage, unless this Hayabusa really pops off.
Yeah, I was actually expecting a Zetian for Navi PH. Could have been a better option, given the burst damage also that it could give. So with the Jushin pick for Navi PH. Okay, we see a Zaska. And Ling!
Which is a good pick against all of these assassins, making sure that you buy enough time for your team to actually do work. And now Ling gets picked up. So at this point, whatever marksman you pick up, it's gonna have a bad time.
Automatically not the Harith, I guess. Well, I don't like the Harith if there's a Zas on the opposing side.
Of course.
But could it be an option, since any other marksman might find it difficult to deal with the Ling if they do decide to constantly go to Shinoa and just gank her in her lane?
Not unless
the carry is going to be difficult too.
Yeah, not unless they go for the Iksha, Melissa, those heroes, but those are scaling heroes as much as possible.
Yeah.
Melissa.
They pick up the Melissa. So yeah, you guys were saying, and I feel like it's a very good anti-dive kind of hero, this is a very interesting draft coming in from both teams, Terra Queens as well as Navi PH. The Ling is going to be scary. We got to see if the Ling can actually deal with the Melissa, or more importantly, can the Melissa deal with Terra Queens. So with that, we're going to throw it over to Mirko and Athena for the final game of this matchup.
We're heading onto the Land of Dawn, starting it off with another game tree here for our match number 2. It's a Queens, it's a clash of Queens, but let's see who will come up on top as we head on over to our game.
Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the final game of the series. Welcome to the Land of Dawn. Melissa, last pick for Navi Philippines. Okay, so this is a signature pick of Shinoa. We did see it twice in the grand finals of MWI 2024 up against Vitality, and at that time it worked perfectly. It was also not in the meta, so similar to now. As a Melissa main myself, I like Melissa. But in this meta, I'm not a big fan, especially because you're kind of an all-in hero. Yes, you're pretty good against dive, but once you use that Inspire and use those muddles, that's about it. You need to get the initial burst down in the fight. And again, in the sustain meta, it's quite difficult to do that.
Like if you're going to make a sound, it's like that.
Yeah.
Pero rather for Navi PH, I'm sorry, but for Navi PH, sometimes they just want to somewhat focus on what is needed for the objective or really needed for the situation. But for Terra Queens, on the other hand, they just need to come up with another plan to disrupt the whole process here, make things harder here for Shinoa, which would happen onto game on number 2. Ku, on the other hand, being punished severely here by Amor and Mirai. Sun Guardian.
Good pick up the quad shadow also. Mirai picks up first blood. Definitely would have wanted, the carries to pick that up, but a kill is a kill. Navi are on the board first. Interesting choice in emblems, by the way, for Shinoa. Usually when you want to play safe, you go for the QC, obviously on the Melissa. And also the weapon mastery. So Shinoa might not be building for attack speed. You might be seeing, what, a crit build Melissa?
Might be, especially if the plan is somehow give her enough space, give her enough damage. Because you mentioned the meta right now, Melissa just isn't in it. But they could create somewhat of a loophole just so Melissa could fit better on what they're trying to accomplish here. Navi PH, on the other hand, starting off great here with a first blood plus a first turtle. Rui being zoned out here. Cool, finding an opening. The arena onto the back lane. Oh, wow.
Instant lockdown with a dominance percent coming down as well. Now it's going to be Rui walking up, but it's onto Mirai. So tanky. Tempest Blaze, and the AOG gets her out of there. Mirai with a re-engage, but it's right onto the dominance ascent, who's still there. Rui walking up, gets the pinch poised to escape as both the Esmeralda and Uranus continues to just battle it out and sustain.
And no one still has the advantage onto taking down the first turtle of the round. And as mentioned for Shinoa, here for her Melissa, it's more on trying to prevent things, like derailing yet again here for Navi PH. But definitely for Terra Queens, I am quite fascinated by the fact that they resetted quite quickly, right? After that game 1, it's like another version of them being faced against Navi PH. Mirai going in. That is huge advantage ever. Rui being choked up out of her own purple buff. On the other hand, Langrina here and Ku.
Great Falling Star Moon to bait out the Raging Sandstorm, but to get a kill on Ku. Tempest Blades, Rui very low, has to recall. Dominator's Descent used up. Mirai gets away with the AOG. Perfect display of the distraction to secure a neutral objective for Navi Philippines.
That is a very great tactic here for Mirai. Just so you know, that's how you counter out the Ling. Just punish him or punish her in this instance onto trying to delay things up onto the purple buff. But Sikoshi, Amor onto the back with a Crimson Beacon. Ku, 2 for the save.
A bit too ambitious of a dive there, but Sikoshi, was that a Magic Blade? She got a shield. Yeah, I think it was a Magic Blade. She rushed it. So understanding it's going to be a tough lane. Raging Sandstorm locking her down now. Rui goes in for the pinch poise, dodging away for the taunt. Defiant Blade not landing. Tempest Blades though, looking for the 4
Needs to get
blades.
away.
Won't be able to get it. Falling Star Moon locks her down in the quad shadow from Keishi. It's right there to execute her.
It's going to be Hunter Strike here for Keishi. Things are quite looking up here for the Hayabusa for Keishi, and that's what you want. Numbers, kills, and Sakoshi being continuously harassed here. Go for the rescue.
Wow. I didn't expect that damage. Dominator's Ascent. Now Keishi! Quad Shadow. Sakoshi will be assassinated, but the Dominator's Ascent dealt so much over to Mirai's. Ayanami is now on the orange buff. Might be looking for a full-on steal.
Okay, that's going to be a Rose Gold Meteor first core item here, aside from boots here for Sakoshi. So that's the reason why she just needs an extra layer of protection. And for Navi PH, on the other hand, a quick pick off onto Shinoa, but Geisha did a great job to trying to neutralize the situation, finding the right targets as well. And for now, Langrina also have, of course, but looking closer here onto the bottom side. That's 3-on-1.
Consecration used up. The Falling Star will lock her down, but he has the Purify. Man, Uranus is tanky.
That is indeed someone that you would want to see constantly, but not really put all your resources in. But Rui is going to be the pinch boys. Big harass here by Navi PH.
Great stun and the assassination to the back. Rui able to get the blades now. Ayanami on her AOG to get her out. Just 1 HP. Luna Lin with a flicker securing the triple. Ayanami forced back under the turret as Terror Queens continue to push on. Ayanami, don't take it. Don't take that falling star.
Okay,
up top.
There's a battle between our gold laners, but not Ayanami still. Continuing to survive, but Langrina following closely behind. Even if they didn't take not Ayanami, they've got what they need, which is a turret. Plus, that was a triple kill, right? That was something that you would want to give on the core damage dealers. But let's take a look back on their instant replay. Lunalin with the Nightmare Spawn and Dominator's Ascent, dealing that much damage, plus also providing that much needed exercise of rights here for Terror Queens.
And now it looks like Terror Queens have actually bought quite a bit of time to scale. We gotta remember, if we're just looking at the composition, that's a good Lancer Flare. Hlang this time doesn't have the Purify, has a Consecration, and will just be able to survive. A re-engage with the Raging Sandstorm and the Dominator's Ascent on him. Revitalize popped in by Mirai now. Is actually the Shadow Kill used up in the back line. Sakoshi gets away, but Ku will be taken down. Rui unable to get the last hit on Mirai. So tanky. And it will be Shinoa to get the kill back on Rui. Falling Star moves in the back now with Rose Gold Meteor procced. Halang stuck, sandwiched down by Ayanami, who's walking up to cancel the recall. Sakoshi and Navi recover. They get a turret, a turtle as well, and that's going to be another one down below.
That's going to be a huge advantage here, closing on under a 3.2k gold lead, plus a turret yet again here for Keishi. Things are quite looking good right now, all because they managed to somehow level the way that not Ayanami plays her Falling Star Moon, and of course the way she dances around, just absorbing all of the shields and targeting Sakoshi. And now with their presentation here, Mirai going in.
The AOG into the sustain, into the AoE damage. Ayanami zoning them in the back so they can't walk forward as Mirai and Amor constantly pushes down and puts down that Lancer Flare to zone them away. Terror Queen somehow able to escape. Slang now takes a big beating. Mirai walks up. Thunderbelt picked up by Ku as Rui continues to push in the bottom lane. We'll be looking for a tier 2 as Keishi rotates too. Matching that rotation, Luna Lin.
Wow, they're still here. They're just chilling. They really want another kill. Ku just going in, pouncing around 3 members. Now Ayanami with a jump. Langrina survives. Ku on the other hand with a quick Sun Guard, able to defend the tier 2 turret onto the top lane. What a tough defense here for Terror Queens.
We're in for a long, long game, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at the in-game equipment. Sakoshi, because of the Rose Gold Meteor Rush, will be quite far behind compared to Shinoa this game. She's going to have to get even more gold to match the damage output from Shinoa. And as expected, it is a crit build that Shinoa is going for, the Windtalker and the Haas Claws, not the attack speed build that, again, we are used to seeing for Melissa.
Yeah.
I guess the new age of Melissa builds now with how the meta is shaping up.
She really needs that extra damage, especially with the Weapons Master earlier. But speak of which, now this real time, there's going to be a jump onto back lane's Ku, targeting Shinoa with Amor.
Great go away. Rui falling Simon onto 3. No follow-up. Keishi was a bit too far to follow it up. Big resources burnt away by both teams, but Na'Vi are the ones first on Lord.
So much has been activated for the clash, but now they're both waiting. Amor doesn't have her flicker if ever. She's going to be pounced on by Terror Queens. Lord being started might be a reset here for both of our teams, who just regenerating some of her HP before the next battle here. And Langrina checks every single bush here, trying to prevent not Ayanami to doing another great Falling Starman play. Now let's talk about on how Terror Queens just manages to somehow level with the level of aggressiveness here for Navi PH. They're actually doing a great job. It's not really so much of a massacre here for Navi PH.
Yep. Bottom lane is actually still slow pushing, so it's great for Na'Vi as they continue to play with the Lord Dance.
Yeah. And
big items.
Yeah, even onto the whole map, you could definitely see for Navi PH that they're trying to balance things out. The Lord might be the final setter here, but Mirai with the taunt. Being thrown over with the Lantern Flare. Langrina just going over each and every member here, trying to do a roll call on where is who here. But not Ayanami from the back. Lunalin on a tight spot. Mirai versus Langrina. Dominator's Descent activated again.
Two-man beating Sandstorm, but the Dominator's Descent is nowhere near. In the mid lane's a battle. 2v2. Sakoshi got a tough spot. Haas and Rose Gold Meteor. I think that might have been her. Keishi able to go with the quad shadow back against Sakoshi. Pinned down. As Shinoa walks up. Berserker's Fury secured. Na'Vi get the better trade. 2-0.
Yeah. And now they actually have the chance to somehow rush this Lord. Remember, you have Rui here. Could go for a steal, but most likely it would just give Navi PH this Lord. And now Amor doing a fantastic job onto zoning them out. Even not Ayanami committing onto using that Falling Starman onto Langrina. This is somewhat of a huge W here for Navi PH.
Massive. Gold difference, 2,000 gold lead in the gold lane. I think in this game, it really comes down to the odd choice of the Rose Gold Media. That it really stops Sakoshi from being the threat that she should be at this point of the game. Like 11 minutes, you would expect the Irithel to be able to dish out more, I would say, damage overall compared to the Melissa. But that Rose Gold start, stop.
She's more on the safer side, but sometimes you just have to take the risk, right? And with that, you really need to be really careful on what you build first, because it mostly sets the tempo. It mostly sets of what you can deal, what you can do. And now, Navi PH is doing everything in their power to totally annihilate the Langrina right now. Shadow Gale in.
Lang trying to disperse it. Will be able to do so. Mirai goes up with the AOG. That's going to be flicker out on the heavy crossbow by Sakoshi, but the Muddles are zoning them in the back. Falling Star Moon going through the Rose Gold Meteor. Ayanami diving deep into the back with a go-away place. No one can dive for the front line. Na'Vi, despite a small little mistake in game 2, climb back to their rightful place. They will qualify to the knockout stage.
A huge win here for Navi PH. It's like how the song goes. They want it, they got it.